best friend, huh? Why wasn't I invited to your birthday? Best friend, my ASPS. Hey everyone, I want to ask you something. Do you have that friend, colleague, or even family member that's extremely sensitive or just can't seem to take a joke? Well, I'm here today to tell you how to get rid of them. Elon Musk, as you said, is taking us to Mars. You can send them away now, only for your entire life savings. Offers VAT inclusive. I don't know if many of you are aware of this, but in today's day and age, people are getting offended by almost everything. Every other day, someone finds something sexist, racist, or flat out offensive in what others do or say. Now, I'm not saying that controlling getting offended can happen all the time, but what I am saying is that it can be avoided sometimes. Wouldn't you agree? Here's an example. I was out with my friends once in a mall, and we were walking around. And they made a joke about me, specifically my weight. How shocking. A woman passing by heard. Before I get into what happened with her, keep in mind, me and my friends are completely fine with this. We go at each other, we make fun of each other. And you always have that one friend in the group that gets really annoyed, so all of you annoy him even more. So we do that. The woman approached me. She said, "Are you okay? Are you getting bullied?" I'm like, wow, she's just concerned. So I told her, no, it's all right. This is what's going on. They're my friends. But she gave me the best pep talk ever. She wanted to fight my friends, and I wanted to fight my friends after I heard what she had to say. I told her, I'm like, there's no need to be a soccer mom. Actually, I didn't say that. She would hit me with my purse. It's like one of those times in your life when you go to a restaurant and you're with your family, something minor goes wrong, and your mom goes, "Bring me the manager." And you're there like, "A'udhu billah, oh my God." The manager comes, he listens to Ryan for about 10 to 15 minutes. And you're there like, just listen. And then the manager turns to you, "Everything good, sir, ma'am?" I'm adopted, no connection here. So that's what it felt like, conversing with this woman. Even after explaining the situation to her, she was offended for me. And she persisted. If she would have just listened, and if she would have just listened, we could have been on our way. That would have been a much better alternative, don't you think? I feel that if I show you more scenarios, we'll all be on the same page, and I can really talk about what I want to talk about. So let me tell you another story. My mother wears an abaya, pretty normal thing over here. But when we travel to a specific foreign country, we attract a lot of unwanted attention. And I shall not name this country, because I want to respect it. Oh no, how did that get up there? By the way, guys, I'm just saying, I have the passport. I'm not flexing. I'm literally unable to flex. But it's important in the story, trust me. So when we travel to the US, me and my family, at immigration, it takes me about 5 minutes because there's a special line for citizens. And I'm greeted with open arms. "Welcome home, son." And I turn to the right, and I see my family stuck in a huge line for about an hour. And they're mostly Indians and Pakistanis in the line, so all I hear is, "Hello, आवाज आ रही है? हाँ, America पहुंच गया अभी." If you're Desi, just scream, "Bad connection is fixed." After that, I'm getting really scared now because my dad's from Pakistan, so I'm just thinking about what's going to happen at home. So I'm looking at the line and I'm thinking, there are a lot of people. Maybe Trump should build the wall. And they're like white people near me. "Go back to your country, you darn hairy-chested immigrants." Guys, I'm kidding. I don't support any politician except for the politicians of the UAE. I love them and they have my undying support. Guys, can I get a discount on the petrol now, please? The gas prices keep going up. I'm going to get deported because of this. After that is the best part. When we're leaving the airport, you feel that anticipation and excitement. You're waiting, and there are people waiting at the exit, family, friends, to pick each other up. Me and my mom are walking. Keep in mind, she's wearing the abaya. We're going up a slope, and there are people on the top, shouting and waving. When they see us, completely silent. So obviously, I pulled out my passport. "Guys, I'm one of you. Don't do anything. I'm actually your hostage." And hey, I look like the ideal American. Pink cheeks, white skin, and I'm overweight. We were in two situations where we could have taken offense or spoken to the manager, but we didn't do anything about it. I guarantee you, if this happened in 2019, it would have been all over social media and it would have been blown way out of proportion. Another example on the more extreme side of things is an encounter between a young girl and an Uber driver in that specific foreign country. She picked a fight with the Uber driver over a hula doll. She was claiming that the hula doll is offensive to the Hawaiian culture. Here's an image of the conversation they had. Don't focus on anything. Don't focus that she's being rude. Don't focus on the fact that she's saying Hawaii, this is offensive. Focus on the fact that Hawaii is a continent, ladies and gentlemen. She actually said that. You can tell her geography is literally off the map. Puns with your local polar bear. This girl got offended for a culture when her knowledge about that culture is very questionable. She's not from that culture, and the people in Hawaii sell this doll, so that completely destroys her argument. So I really want to know, is there anyone here who agrees with her? Security, dosu. This, what you witnessed today, is a snowflake, a term given to these people who display similar behavior and share the same beliefs. And this is becoming very common in our generation. We already had Fortnite, which is a cancer in our generation, and now we have this. Spoilers. I'm not saying that this is becoming very common in our generation, but I am saying that this is spreading very fast all over the world online. In many countries, it's reached our societies through the online community. Many companies have faced the snowflake's wrath because when they see something they don't like, they attack. Many companies have redacted things they've said or done and avoided bad reputation by doing this. An example of this is when a woman went on Sky News. It's a British news channel, and she was claiming that air conditioning is sexist. Sexist, the battle cry for all feminists. She went on to say that the temperature in the office, which is freezing conditions for women, and not suited for and better suited for men, is not able for them to, they're not able to work in those conditions, basically. And those conditions are 22 degrees Celsius, by the way, so I don't get what she's on about. If you have a problem with the temperature in the office, you go and change it, or you speak to whoever's in charge. You don't go on national television and be like, guys, I have really important info. It's not the cure for cancer, but air conditioning is sexist. How ridiculous does that sound? She wasn't going to be taken on to Sky News at first, but after the snowflakes banded together and said, no, she deserves to voice her opinion, they took her on to avoid bad reputation. And the news headline clearly read, sexist air conditioning. Bola had a lot of reasons not to trust the media. Here's one more. They're doing things like this. Now I get it. Some people, everyone is different. Some people can take jokes, some can't. No one can control their emotions, and we're all built differently. But that brings me to my next point, which is humor. Humor brings us all together. As you can see here, we're all having a good time. It reduces the tension and helps us talk about sensitive topics like death, race, gender, etc. But people seem to get offended by these things when they hear jokes. And it's most of the time we're offended, it's about the thing we're passionate about. So if I make a joke about the thing you're passionate about, the thing you love so much, you'll probably get offended. You know those times in your life when you really love something and someone just doesn't like it as you do and they make fun of it and you have to argue with them, but at the same time you also mention your opinion doesn't really affect me. Well, in reality it does. It does offend you. Stop that. Stop letting that happen to you. Context is very important in these situations. Context doesn't exist in the minds of people who get offended by inanimate objects. Context allows you to assess a situation. For example, if I say a racial slur, many of the people would get offended by it as soon as they hear it. They wouldn't look at the context or how I used it. They would just say it shouldn't be used at all. Even when jokes are made about things like politics or cancer, feminism, people don't understand the context of the joke. Understanding the context and the intent, which is equally as important as context, allows you to make a proper judgment of the offending action. Because that's what taking offense is. You judge the action. You deem whether it's right or wrong. I read an article that proposes 3 levels of offense. The first, offense born of malice. Offense born of malice basically is the easiest to understand. It's basically when someone has a bad intention to do something wrong. They say something to cause harm. It's pretty obvious and it's quite easy to recognize. The second, I have memory loss. It's all the fat going into my brain. Offense born of malice, this is ignorance, is when the offending party doesn't know why they're being offensive. So they're basically ignorant to the fact. The last one, offense born of apathy, is when the offending party has had their behavior explained to them, so now they know why they're offensive, but they don't make an effort to change themselves. They might not have malicious intent, but they just don't want to change. Okay. Out of the 3, the easiest to recognize is malicious intent. If you go up to a bunch of Asians and you're like, "Hello, would you like a noodles?" Yeah, that's pretty messed up. Or if I went up to a cripple and I'm like, "I do love my morning runs." But honestly, the cripple would still beat me at a race. Like, he would just be there, "Bro, look at your shawarma legs. What are you on about? Look at them." Or if I went to the US and he's like, "Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, how many wives do you have? Are you Muslim, bro?" All the scenarios here I mentioned have malicious intent in them. But what if we're not certain about the malice? What if we don't understand the intent of the person? Well, the article proposes 2 courses of action. The first is to assume that the party is always ignorant. Apathy must be proven to us that it exists. If we can't find out the source of their offensive behavior, if we don't know if they're malicious, if we don't know if they're ignorant, then the second thing we can do is educate them about what they're doing. It's very simple and easy to follow. Now, I'm not saying that this is one of the best ways to deal with taking offense, but what I am saying is that this is a more responsible and progressive way of handling yourself in these situations. In the society we live in today, sensitivity is being promoted instead of resilience. And it's being done in schools unknowingly. Children are told you can be the best at everything. And they're taught that, and people with these types of beliefs, when they grow up, they don't like to take constructive criticism. Honestly, a lot of people my age or younger don't know how to take constructive criticism. They're so entitled and think that the world is going to change for them. But that's not how it works. You just need to shut up and listen sometimes. Nowadays, there's this thing going on. Everybody is beautiful no matter what size you are. And because of that, I'm seeing plus-size models all over social media and magazine covers. Now, that's fine. But when someone who's overweight and not in a good place in their life sees that, they might think, "Hey, you know what? I don't need to change. I'm fine the way I am. I'm healthy." When in fact, that's quite dangerous. If I see it, I still acknowledge the fact that I need to change and that this is unhealthy, but I'm just lazy. Someone else might say, "No, this is okay," and they continue their life in an unhealthy lifestyle for them. This is glorifying obesity. This isn't the way you include diversity and representation. Because this is what the snowflakes say. When you bring it up to them, what I said, this point, they instantly shut it down and say, no, this is for to include people, this is for diversity, this is good. But this isn't the way you do it. This has serious psychological consequences. Talking to people, when you don't agree with them, debating with them, laughing at a joke rather than taking offense, and talking about different ideologies is a much better alternative than getting offended. Another thing that the snowflakes do tend to get offended about is that when you have a different ideology compared to them. Your ideology might be good for you, but not the whole world. You can pretend to live in you can live in a utopia where you can identify as the 75th gender or a toilet roll and diabetes doesn't exist, but don't expect the world to pretend with you. It might be good for you, but not the whole world. This brings me to my final few points. Have you guys played Uno? There's a new card that's been added to it. It's called the victim card, and people love to pull this card out and victimize themselves to prove that they're right when they get offended. And that's probably one of the worst things you can do if you want to get a point across. I feel that these days we're disregarding things like context, humor, constructive criticism in order to please the masses and remain politically correct. It's a big word, don't read it. I just put it up there in case I get any hate. So we're doing this to please everyone and to make sure everyone's happy. But I want to see a world where we understand context, where we know how to take constructive criticism, and we know how to laugh at jokes, and we know how to respond to jokes, and we can laugh with people with different cultures. Here's a quote from Ricky Gervais, and I know he's controversial, but it has a lot of meaning and depth to it. What's the point of jokes if you can't joke about the most horrendous things in the world? Humor is to get us over terrible things. And my final statement, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. Oh, wait, one more thing. Did anyone notice anything about the examples I gave, the people who got offended? Did you notice anything? Say it. He said it, I didn't say it. All right, I'm done. Thank you.